In the quiet countryside of northern Scotland, beneath the rolling mists of Rossshire, there once lived a woman the villagers feared, avoided, and whispered about in the dark. Her name was Ailsa MacRae. But if you think this is just another tale about poverty, no. This is a story about survival, betrayal, destiny, and how two boys rose from the ashes of hopelessness to change their family's future forever. Prepare yourself, because this is the true life story of Aziba, retold in a Western setting. With more drama, more suspense, and more heart. The village of Rossshire was beautiful, picturesque, the kind of place you see on postcards. But beauty, my friend, does not guarantee kindness. While the villagers lived in old yet stable cottages roofed with corrugated metal, Ailsa lived in something else entirely. A structure that looked more like a dying tent than a home. Its walls, torn canvas, rotting wood, and faded rags stitched together like a patchwork of misery. Every time winter approached, the villagers would shake their heads and whisper, "God help that woman." Yet none of them actually helped her. Ailsa was married to Duncan, a man whose wild beard and vacant stare made people cross the street when they saw him coming. Some said he was mad. Others said he was cursed. But the truth, the world may never know. Their poverty was so deep, it seemed almost supernatural. And so, the villagers invented a story to explain it. They called Ailsa a witch, not because she ever harmed anyone, but simply because she was poor, odd, and different. A label born from fear. A label that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Ailsa had two sons, James and Brice, two boys born into darkness, yet destined for greatness. But as children, they knew only hunger. When Ailsa went begging through the village, the boys followed with empty bowls and dusty faces. Doors slammed in their faces. Bread was snatched away. People muttered prayers as if poverty were contagious. Still, Ailsa never cursed them, never shouted, never blamed her children for their suffering. She simply walked, begging day after day, because that was the only way they could survive. But poverty, like a disease, spreads quickly. Soon, Ailsa could no longer feed her own sons. And that is when fate intervened. One summer afternoon, a distant relative visiting the village saw James, thin, quiet, starving, and something in her heart broke. She offered to take him to Inverness. Ailsa refused at first. How could she part with her child? But James tugged on her dress and whispered, "Mom, I'll come back for you. I promise." His words cracked her heart open, and so, with tears streaming down her dirt-stained cheeks, she handed her son over, not knowing if she would ever see him again. 2 years later, Brice was taken by another family. Ailsa and Duncan were now alone in the tattered shack, a house once filled with children's voices, now filled only with silence, and rain dripping through holes in the roof. James's new life was not easy. He worked as a house help, cleaning floors, washing dishes, babysitting children who treated him like a servant. But he also attended school. And school became his escape. Books became his allies. Knowledge became his armor. And hope became his rebellion. Meanwhile, Brice worked for a family near the coast. He cooked, ran errands, scrubbed toilets, anything to earn his place. Yet the boys never complained, never broke down, never turned bitter. Because deep inside, they carried one dream, to rescue their mother from the life she never deserved. Back in Rossshire, Duncan's health crumbled like the rotten boards of their shack. Cold nights, no medicine, no food, no care. His body simply couldn't take it anymore. One winter night, as the wind screamed outside, Duncan slipped away quietly. Ailsa sat beside him, holding his hand, whispering prayers through cracked lips. No neighbors came, no friends, no comfort, Just silence, and the sound of rain hitting torn fabric. Days later, the news reached James and Brice. James froze. The phone nearly fell from his hands. Brice wept openly. They rushed home, grown men now, to bury the father who had given them love, even if he had nothing else to give. At the graveside, James clenched his fists and whispered, "We're not losing, Mum. Not like this. Not again." James took Ailsa out of the village immediately. For the first time in her life, she stepped into a real home. A warm apartment, a soft bed, new clothes, a fridge with food, a heater that kept the cold at bay. And for the first time since she was a child, Ailsa slept without fear of rain pouring through the roof. Brice and his wife visited often. They treated her with dignity, something the village had stolen from her for decades. And slowly, painfully, beautifully, Ailsa began to smile again. Ailsa lived her last years in peace. No witchcraft accusations, no hunger, no humiliation, just love, just family, just rest. When she passed away in her sleep, peacefully, gently, James held her hand until it grew cold. He whispered, "Sleep well, Mum. You deserved so much more. We made it out. Because of you." James rose fast in his career, brilliant, driven, unstoppable. He bought his own home, owned his own car, built a family filled with love, laughter, and warmth. Brice became a successful technician with his own workshop, a loving husband, a devoted father, a man who broke every chain placed on him. They never forgot where they came from. They never forgot the woman who shielded them with her body when she had nothing else to give. And every year on Ailsa's birthday, they visited her grave with 2 white roses. One rose for her suffering, the other for her victory. Life is unpredictable, sometimes cruel, sometimes beautiful. Ailsa MacRae lived a life of hardship, shame, and loneliness. But in the end, she won. Because true victory is when your children rise so high that your name, once mocked, becomes a symbol of strength. This is not just a story, it is a testimony, a reminder that your beginning does not define your ending. And even in the darkest places, hope can be born.